Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the 412 Double Play podcast. Andrew McCutcheon finally reached 300. Marco Gonzales is the first casualty from the rotation this season. And the Pirates fan base got a bit rowdy during the first homestand of the season. We're going to talk about all of that. But first off, I am your host, Michael Castriano. Joining me, my co-host, Double Play partner, as usual, Ed Wassel. Ed, how are you doing this week? How are you recovering from your trip to Philadelphia?
Doing good. I was actually off work this week, so it was pretty relaxing.
And then you went to Philly.
Then I went to Philly. Trip to Philly wasn't too bad. Getting out of the parking lot was not pleasant, but other than that, not too many complaints. Other than going to one of the games that they lost,
which is unfortunate. It's a really nice park. You got a Schwarberger.
Yeah, I got the Schwarberger.
A Schwarberger. How was that? I forgot to ask you.
It was really good. I was pretty satisfied with the purchase. A little expensive, but
well, yeah, it's Philly prices. I mean, all ballpark food is.
I don't know. Philly prices might be above and beyond anywhere else I've been.
I mean, wait till you get back to PNC. I had a couple libations, so I don't really remember the per cost of like the hot dogs and pulled pork sandwiches I had. But yeah, you were in on Saturday in Philly watching the Pirates game. I was able to go see game one of the doubleheader in Altoona, which is really fun. We'll talk about that once we get to the segment on it. But first off, let's jump into the roster roundup for the week. Move I forgot last week. Left-handed pitcher Ryan Borucki went on the 15-day injured list with left tricep inflammation. Fellow southpaw Jose Hernandez was recalled again to take his place in the bullpen. As soon as we finished recording last week, I was like, I forgot that. But so apologies on that. He had pitched that last Sunday too. So I don't know what I was thinking. Also had Ryder Ryan option to Indy. Colin Holderman was recalled. Carmen Mlodzinski finished his rehab assignment, was officially optioned to Indianapolis. And then finally, following his start on Saturday, Marco Gonzales felt tightness in his left forearm. He headed back to Pittsburgh for an MRI, and Ryder Ryan came right back up to the team to rejoin the team in Philly. Ed, I'm going to avoid the elephant, and I'm gonna start off with like the Holderman and Mlodzinski thing. Holderman's first appearance back with the team, and even his appearances in AAA before he finished his rehab, weren't all that reassuring. Do you think he was the right choice? Not with hindsight, because, long season. Do you think it was better for them to have recalled him and optioned Mlodzinski as they did, or would you have preferred it to be the other way around?
I mean, coming into the season, we kind of had Holderman locked in at the seventh inning spot, basically seventh or eighth, with Chapman being there. So yeah. I'm not really surprised that he got brought up when healthy. I mean, Mlodzinski being sent down over somebody else was a little surprising, I guess, because he has been pretty solid.
Yeah, someone like Hunter Stratton, but Stratton's been pretty good.
Yeah.
You can't really complain about him. Like, who would you send down instead?
I don't know.
The bullpen's not perfect, and obviously some of those flaws were exposed, but
we did have 3 lefties in the bullpen with Fleming, Chapman, and
Borucki, and now it's Hernandez.
Now it's Hernandez. We still
have 3. Yeah.
I don't know if we need to carry 3, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know who in that group maybe Jose Hernandez you'd send back down, but
we have he's been effective. 3. Do we have 3 lefties in the rotation as well, or is it just 2?
Not anymore. It's just Falter and Perez now. So we'll go ahead and use that to springboard into the weekly recap. Quick 2-game series at home with the Detroit Tigers as part of the quote-unquote Leland Cup. Mitch Keller on the bump for game 1, looking to turn around the sluggish start to the season against a team with some slumping bats. The Tigers have not really been swinging despite their strong record. Had a bit of a wild start, but settled in. 2 runs off 5 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts over 6 innings of work. Brian Reynolds got his 100th career home run. I think he's now tied for 25th most in Pirates history. That was one of his 2 hits on the day. Jack Sawinski, Kutch, Connor Joe, Jared Triolo each had multi-hit game, leading to a 7-4 Pirates victory. Game 2, Martin Perez on the bump. He continues to just be excellent. 8 innings of 6 hit, 1 run ball, walking 0 batters, striking out 7. The walking 0 batters is going to be a trend here. Just going to point that out now. Edward Olivares, he hammered 2 home runs. He fell just short of knocking in a third. It was just a really hard hit, long fly ball. But David Bednar got a case of the yips. He hit 2 batters. He walked a third, got some soft like bloop hits that kind of just went in between fielders, blew the save and the game. Bucks lost 5-3. The big story there, though, was the fans booing Bednar as he walked off. Now, granted, it was his 3rd blown save and 4 chances up to that point. But he's also been one of the best closers in baseball over the past few seasons. He's also the biggest yinzer probably on the planet, has been the Roberto Clemente representative, like award winner for the team, I think each of the past 2 seasons. Does literally everything Pittsburghy that he can do. He's at Pens games, he's at Steelers games, but it was not a great game, and it was not a great start to the season. What are your thoughts on the treatment of Bednar by the fans?
Well, I will start with I read multiple things that the booing was actually towards Shelton, not necessarily Bednar. I don't know if I believe that.
It's going to be hard to believe that, because then they're booing Shelton taking him out, because
I
they're
think they're
booing
booing
when he
leaving
came
him
out
in.
of the game.
I think they were booing leaving him in when he was struggling as bad as he was.
Yeah, I saw people saying that, and I didn't see them backing it up with anything.
Yeah, but I mean,
then you applaud when Bednar comes out because he's your dude. You don't.
Right.
I don't buy that at all. I think that's just a cover.
I don't know. That's a very like Philly thing to do, in my opinion.
That's what I said when it happened. I was like, that's
not Pittsburgh-ish. That's not being Yinzers.
And then after the game in the clubhouse, before Bednar was greeted by reporters, or as he was greeted by reporters, of all people, Rowdy Tellez stepped up, talked first, and said, like, this is not the way to treat this kid. He's a 2-time All-Star. He's, the pride of Pittsburgh. So let's show him some respect, because he's gonna get right, and he is amazing, and we're lucky to have him. And I was like, ouch, out my heart. Like, you think about how we thought about Rowdy in spring training, and they have that video, the 3-minute video, where he's just like doesn't know who Termarr Johnson is, and can't field balls and can't hit balls, and it's just kind of like sluggishly walking around. Like, you see the groundskeeper walking faster than he's running. And then he does that. How much has your impressions of Tellez changed over just the first, 3 weeks of the season, 4 weeks of the season?
Oh, I'd say drastically. I mean, like, that's the kind of teammate and clubhouse guy that I want surrounding a lot of the young players that are on the roster. I mean, it's really showing. I mean, not only the younger guys and older guys too, but you're showing how you're supposed to act, how you respect and back your teammates. Don't let anybody talk smack about your guys. And he's only been there a few months.
I did see some people say, like, "Hey, you're not from here. You can't tell me what to do."
Yeah, well, you haven't been here.
The only one on the team who's from there.
You haven't been here long enough. I don't care if you've been here a day or 6 years, man. That's how you're supposed to act.
I mean, some of the biggest Pirates fans. I mean, we're huge Pirates fans. We don't live in Pittsburgh. Our friends Josh and Jake from Bridge of October. Josh is in Ohio. Jake's down in Alabama, I think. He's down south. Locked On Pirates. Ethan, not like calling guys out, but like you can be a huge Pirates fan living anywhere. There's people who live in England who are big Pirates fans. Not being from there doesn't degrade your
Doesn't
passion for the team.
right. It doesn't negate the way you can view, team or the way fans are reacting.
Yeah, I loved it. Rowdy's his defense has been great. I think. I mean, I'm going to talk about the Philly series in a second, but there's been a couple times where I'm seeing reviews and he's just or replays and he goes horizontal to make the play. And I don't know if he just fell down because it's in slow motion and he happened to get to the ball. But I'm like, you know what? That's a lot of weight falling really fast. So props, snaps for Rowdy. Um, all right, enough of the Tigers series, the Bednar stuff. Cross State series, Bucks headed east to face the Phillies. Jared Jones started strong in game one, allowing just one run in the first 6 innings. Home run ball came back to Burnham. He allowed 3 total runs in 6.1 innings, 8 strikeouts, 0 walks. Pirates bats just didn't show up as the Bucks lost 5-1. Game two, Bailey Falter continued his metamorphosis, my big word for today, into a legit starting pitcher. Facing his former team, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, again, 0 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Bullpen held the fort from there as Phillies essentially botched their way to giving us the game. And then Bednar got the save with the Bucks winning 5-2. And then with Ed in attendance for that game 3, Pirates had a 3-2 lead going into the 7th. Marco Gonzales tossed another quality start, but Aroldis Chapman came on to try holding it in the 7th inning. Couple of walks, some wild pitches, ended with the Phillies taking the lead, eventually walking it off, tying it up, and then eventually walking it off in the 9th. Different story today, though, as team got a rare good game across the board. There was an error that Hayes he couldn't quite get a handle on the ball and slipped in the field. I don't know what that was, what was going on that weekend. But Keller went 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Pirates facing Zach Wheeler finally got to him in the 6th inning. Sawinski hit a grand slam. Joey Bart added another long ball of his own after Wheeler was taken out of the game. And then Kutch got number 300 in the 9th, 2-run shot. Bucks won 9-2, secured the split. Ed, I know you have your thoughts from the game you saw. What are your thoughts on the series overall?
I really think we had the opportunity to win 3 of those games. Specifically, the game that I was at, it was like very, very poor fundamental play by the Pirates. And I know I texted you. I was complaining about Shelton, the way he handled the bullpen, and
You were?
I was rather upset. And I, just as everyone else has been complaining about all of the strikeouts that the team is having. Not only if you strike out swinging, at least you tried. But all the called third strikes of just watching it go right down the middle, it's so frustrating.
There have been a lot of strikeouts, and there have been a lot of strikeouts looking. I was talking to Josh from Rich Bucktober, and he looked into it, and we have the 3rd most strikeouts looking. Now, there can be human error there, but a lot of our guys have pretty good eye at the plate. Like I know Kutch, he's been swinging and missing at a lot of fastballs. His bat speed's starting to catch up, which is good. Obviously, getting the home run, but yeah, it's not good. It's not great. Some guys are just trying to get walks, or they think a ball is borderline enough that they're going to get it, and then they don't.
I don't know.
And I
I know.
understand.
I was pretty frustrated with Davis Saturday. Like he looked like he was, just from my viewpoint, like he was complaining about a lot of the calls. They showed the replay. I'm like, dude, that was way in the zone. Like you can't complain about that pitch at all.
Yeah, I mean that's happened with a bunch of them. I think Reynolds, Rowdy, I think once had an issue. I don't think it was this past series. My proximity to Philly, I get blacked out from MLB games, and I don't have Comcast, so I'm not gonna, So I tweeted this out, but Thursday went to see high school show. My wife choreographed Little Mermaid. Great show. Went to see it on Friday with Steve. Saturday, Altoona game. Saw the show again today, but was listening to the game on and off during it. So was able to kind of have a family weekend before being able to ignore that as I'm able to watch the rest of the games. But the Kutch home run makes him, and this is something Alex Stump posted, he's now one of just 13 players all time to record at least 2,000 career hits, 400 doubles, 45 triples, 300 home runs, 200 stolen bases. A lot of the names on this list are Hall of Famers: Hank Aaron, George Brett, Andre Dawson, Reggie Jackson, Frank Robinson, Larry Walker, Dave Winfield. And then you get guys like Carlos Beltran, Barry Bonds, and then Kutch. Do you think that Kutch is a Hall of Famer or still a Hall of Very Good?
No, I'd consider him a Hall of Famer. I mean, I don't know what else you want from him other than a championship, but he's got Gold Glove, Silver Sluggers, MVP. He's got the stats to back it up. All around great player. What do you want?
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know if they're going to say over the long haul that he's, and it depends what kind of class he's in potentially too, but over the long haul, if he's put in enough and reached enough of those milestones, because he's not going to get to 3,000 hits. He's not going to get to like 400 home runs. He's not going to get to 500 doubles. But he's got a lot of markers there, and that's an impressive list to be a part of.
Yeah, there's what, 2 guys that you listed that aren't Hall of Famers there?
Well, okay, so Carlos Beltran and Barry Bonds are probably never going to be. I mean, unless the panel changes things. Joe Carter is on the list. He's not a Hall of Famer. Steve Finley, and then the rest are, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to go and look at the case for Carter because I feel like he really should. You think about
2
that,
of them would have been
92.
Hall of Famers had they not, got busted for juicing.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, Bonds was juicing. Beltran was something else, but
I think Beltran also juiced.
I mean, maybe he did, but the connection with him was for the Astros thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, like, if you look at some of the Astro players, like if Altuve would continue to do what he's doing or has done, he'll
Yeah.
probably still get in, whether he's connected to it or not.
It's going to be interesting when those guys come up, what kind of discussions occur as a result, because it's hard to say. Like if you're cheating in some way, like steroids, and you're saying, okay, these guys aren't going to get in. All right, fine, but like, then none of the Astros should be remotely eligible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because you hear like former players, and they're like, "Dude, if you're not cheating, you're not trying." Like everybody did something to cheat at one point or
I'm
another.
sure, yeah. You scuff up the ball when you're pitching. You cork the bat or put pine tar up too high.
Spitball,
Like
spider
anything you
tag,
can do to get
right.
an edge.
Any type of advantage you can get, they're trying it.
But if you get caught to the extent of what the Astros were doing, like Verlander was on that 2017 team. I can't imagine it's going to affect his case for the Hall, but at the same time, it's like he benefited from it.
Yeah.
All right, going off topic because next thing I want to talk about was that despite the fact that they split this past week, 1-1 against the Tigers, 2-2 against the Phillies, they outscored both opponents, 10-9 over the Tigers and 18-13 over the Phillies. They currently have a plus 24 run differential, and I saw the MLB Network posted season comparison first 16 games year over year, because you think back to how excited we were to the start last year. Runs per game last year 4.1. This through the first 16 games 4.1. This year 5.4. Run differential was -5 at this point last year, compared to plus 24. Team ERA was 4.29, and right now it's 3.48. Are you? And I'd have to go back and like look at the notes. Did you think that the team would be in this kind of position at this point? Keeping in mind, those first couple series, Nationals and Marlins, I was like, okay, this is a soft part to the schedule. But then we face the Orioles, the Tigers, and Phillies, and we have a winning record in that time. We haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't lost a series yet. And it's going to happen eventually. But those were three pretty good teams.
Yeah.
And we held our own.
I don't know what I really expected coming into the season. I know we're doing our predictions at the end of every episode that we do.
Yeah.
And I think we got the Orioles one wrong because I only called for one win in that series.
Yep. We call the split for the Tigers, and I think we may have said 3 or 4 for the Phillies.
Yeah.
Because we were getting a little too big for our britches.
It was there, though. It was within reach.
Yeah. I mean, even the Jones game.
We were close. We were kind of close with where we were at.
Yeah. I mean, the offense is mostly there. Like I said, the game where they only scored 1 run, that was a little bit disheartening. I feel like they just couldn't break through. I don't remember if that was Christopher Sanchez or who was pitching in that game. Philly starting pitchers coming into that series, their rotation had like the second best ERA in the National League, and it was like 5th best overall. I mean, Pirates were third; they were right behind them, but that's a pretty good rotation, and it was led by Wheeler, and then managed to get to him today.
Yeah,
in the 6th inning, but it happened. Whenever it happens, it happens. Yeah, it's exciting. I think that it's definitely more legit, and your issues with Shelton are understandable, and I know a lot of other fans feel that too. He finally has a team to manage, and so he's trying. The thing with Chapman came in to face Schwarber, Turner, Harper. He's probably your best relief pitcher, so he's the guy that you want to put in there. Maybe they go with Fleming. This is on Saturday. I don't know if Fleming had pitched on Friday. I'd have to go back and look.
I'm pretty sure. I think Fleming pitched Friday.
Okay, so that's maybe why they didn't want to go with that matchup, or Jose Hernandez if he had pitched on Friday too. But you're saying
Hernandez came in after Chapman.
Oh, Hernandez pitched the 9th. That's right.
Yeah, but I know you're saying you're coming in facing 2 lefties out of the 3 there, so he's playing the matchup game. I mean, Chapman was he was all over the place. You're going to have games like that, yeah.
And the thing is, we know that Chapman's wild because like Yankees fans post about it, and Rangers fans post about it, and even Reds fans are like, "Oh yeah, we remember when he was wild."
Yeah,
because it happens. They're familiar with it too. He's got a high walk rate. Sometimes he can't control that 100+ that's coming out of his hand.
Or Chapman wasn't my issue. My biggest complaint from that game was bringing in Contreras in the 9th with a guy on 2nd and 3rd or something like that. The kid's confidence isn't that great to begin with. You're putting him in a really bad position.
I mean, it ended up not working out, understandably,
right. Yeah. Intentional walk. I think it was Bohm to load the bases for a potential double play. And then like first pitch, Castellanos smokes it to dead center.
No, that was the walk-off.
Yeah.
Castellanos hit the RBI. The 9th inning, he hit the RBI single. He wasn't the one who hit the RBI off. Well, now I got to go look this up.
Yeah, that was Contreras that they brought in for the 9th inning.
It was Contreras that they brought in, but it was Bohm singled. Bohm singled off of Chapman to score the tying run. Yeah, Rowe didn't give up a run.
No, it was an
It was
inherited base runner.
Castellanos. No,
But
no,
I'm
no.
just
But
saying, like,
Chapman was the one pitching. Bohm got walked in the ninth. You're talking about in the ninth inning.
in the ninth inning, they walked the bases loaded.
Oh, that's when Rowe came in. Yeah.
That's when Rowe
Okay.
came in. That's
I
my
thought you were
complaint.
talking about with the. This is
No,
great content.
no.
Yes, Bohm got intentionally walked in the Castellanos. Yes.
Yeah, like for me, like that's not a position that you put Contreras in when you're still trying to build his confidence back up.
Yeah. I mean, who would you put in there? You don't want to put Bednar in for him to get another loss.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe I do
tough.
put Bednar in.
And just hang one on him potentially. I mean, maybe he goes and strikes out Castellanos because he was in a slump. But
Yeah, he was getting booed hard all game.
yeah, and then he got booed today.
Yeah, they give him so
always
much shit.
Pirates fans. This is why don't be like them. I know they were they won the pennant 2 years ago, but come on, we don't want to be like them.
Well, I
We
was
just
laughing
don't.
because Harper struck out like I think 3 times, and I don't think I
Did he
heard like
get
a
booed?
chirp. No, I don't
Oh,
think I
okay.
heard a chirp. And I'm like, wow, like Castellanos played good defense. Had some decent at bats in that game. Like
I
you're
don't believe he played good defense.
uh, go back and rewatch the game.
I
I was there.
I mean, I know, I'm just like he had. We're just going off the rails, but what was it last year or the year before? He had 0 errors, but it's just because if he couldn't get to a ball, he didn't try. Like, and he has
Yeah,
had
but
some
sometimes
DH.
sometimes that's better.
Yeah. I'll look into it. Not right now though.
Either way,
Let's go ahead and pivot.
I was saying he played good defense yesterday. I wasn't saying like
Yeah,
his entire career.
he had one good game where balls were hit to him and he fielded them
No,
adequately.
who was it? I think Alika almost hit a home run to right field, and he was able to catch it like while hitting the wall,
Yeah, I did read about that.
and the sun was right in his face. Like that was a
What
really good opportunity for him to screw up, and he didn't.
So pivoting off that, what was going on in the field? Because Brownie and Walk on the radio broadcast were talking about how there were issues with catchers on both sides fielding the ball. There's a pass ball today with Rio Muto, which allowed a run to score. Davis had issues, like he thought the ball was behind him and it was in front of him. And then the field was super slippery. Like Phillies players apparently were slipping all over the place. Hayes slipped today. Was the field wet? Was it raining? Did they oil it?
While we were there, it didn't rain. I don't know if it rained prior to us showing up, but we did notice. I think an outfielder slipped 2 or 3 times. I think Turner slipped while we were there. He also slipped the day prior, which ended up
They're on the
allowing
dirt.
Pittsburgh to score. He slipped in the grass. He was like right on the edge.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
I
weird.
don't know
It's
what was
just
going on with
weird
the
what's going on
catchers
there.
because I mean Davis was getting beat up because like I said, the pitching wasn't great once
Yeah.
Gonzales was taken out, so there was a ton of balls in the dirt, and I'm not entirely sure what was going on there.
Okay. Yeah. Good to get a day down today. Put Bart in. Clubbed another home run. Like Black Bart. What are you gonna do? All right. Enough with the Pirates. Let's pivot to down on the farm. Weather was wreaking havoc with multiple double headers in the minors, rainouts, cancellations, postponements. Let's get into it. Indianapolis Indians at Toledo Mud Hens. Indians lost 5 of 6, but Leover Peguero and Nick Gonzales continue their torrid start to the season, batting .333 with 888 OPS and .286 with 794 OPS, respectively. And your regular weekly update, Paul Skeens is just amazing. He's as advertised. He's everything we were hoping for. 3.1 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk. Very disappointing. No runs, 8 strikeouts. I think I read at least 15 of his pitches were 100 plus, something like that. Like, the dude's amazing. But just like, he's not, and I'm going to talk about it in the special, calm about like him coming up. He threw 55 pitches last week. They're going to build him up. He's going to be up here sooner than what a lot of people are saying, but later than probably what you want him to be. Moving on, Altoona Curve hosting the Harrisburg Senators. Rain canceled 2 games. Only one of them was rescheduled to Saturday. Game I was able to go to. Curve took 3 of 5 from the Baby Nats. Got to watch Bubba Chandler pitching. He walked the first 2 batters and then retired the next 12 in order after that. He was touching 97 at times. That was really fun to see live. First time I went to a Curve game. Unfortunately, didn't get there early enough to get the Bobble Stash bobblehead, and also wasn't able to get food somewhere outside of the park. So Ethan Houlihan, I know if you're listening, I'm sorry again. I'm sorry for disappointing you. I got a Loco dog and fries, and I didn't get a Curve burger, but and it was fine. It was food. I was just there to watch the prospects. So next time I'm going to try to get there much earlier and check out some of the cool restaurants in Altoona. I haven't been there in a couple of years, so that's my little story about going to Altoona and getting to watch Chandler just mow them down. Seriously, no hitter through 4 innings. Aaron Shackelford had 2 home runs this past week, 2 doubles. Looked good. I mean, he was the one that looked most impressive over the past week. Got to see Curvin Pichardo, who honestly looks like he weighs like 160. But a lot of those younger guys, that's kind of how they look. Matt Frazier, got to see Matt Frazier. The weird thing about seeing prospects live is I turn into like a coach, and I don't know what I'm talking about. If you guys are listening to this, which you must be because you're hearing this, I mean, like, it's all based on like some insight and stuff that I read. But I'm watching Matt Frazier, and the dude has he's bats left-handed, and he's got his right foot pretty much on his toe, on his big toe, until like the pitch is about to be thrown, and then he lifts it up in the air. So I'm like, how is he was so late on so many pitches, and he just kept fouling them back or missing. And I'm like, you need to plant your foot sooner. So Matt Frazier, if you're listening to this,
which he's not,
no, you gotta plant that foot. He's just not gonna catch up. Anyway, there's my curve spiel. Greensboro at Winston-Salem Dash took 4 of 6 from the Dash. Hunter Barco and Adam Ercolani each pitched 4 innings of 2-hit shutout ball, combining for 1 walk and 9 strikeouts between them, while Lonnie White clubbed another 2 home runs. Continues to impress now that he's healthy. I know it's a cliche, but man, this dude can stay healthy for the season. He's going to be fun to watch. He's just this year. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to stay healthy. He's going to put it together. And finally, Bradenton at Lakeland Flying Tigers. Not much good news there. They lost all 6 games. Omar Alfonso is an exciting prospect to watch there. He did post a 353, 450, 588 triple slash, an even 3-3 for both walks and strikeouts over 5 games this past week. When we had Murph on a couple weeks back, he had mentioned Alfonso as the guy he likes down in Bradenton, a prospect to watch, and he's been really impressive. I don't know how much longer he's going to stay at Bradenton. I know he was there for at least the latter half of 2023. But Ed, any thoughts on players, or is it just Skeens?
I mean, not just Skeens. I'd like to see him stretch Skeens out a little bit more, because he's done 3 innings in all the starts.
So, yes, he went 3.1 innings. He got into a little bit of trouble. His pitch count is slowly elevating, and I think that's the thing that you got to be looking at it. because his first start, he just like wiped out his opponents. They're like, okay, 3 innings. He was at like 25 pitches or something because he just struck everyone out. He wasn't really that low, but who knows? They're going to be building him up. I think the plan probably was to get to 40 pitches or like 50, 4 innings or 50 some pitches, and he just reached the pitch count earlier than they expected. So he's going to get there. I get it, because now with the Gonzales injury, people are saying that he should be the one called up, and I'm like, I will lead the charge to pound the table when he's ready. He's just, what are you going to do? You're going to have him come up and pitch 3 innings and then go to Rowe or Ortiz?
Yeah.
Like, you could, right, but wouldn't you rather have the finished product in like a few weeks and have someone like Quinn Priester come up, who's also not pitching a ton of innings, even though he was stretched out in the spring? I don't know what that's about, but nobody is. Like Bubba Chandler, taken out after 4 innings, had the no-hitter going. Me and Steve were talking like, oh, how long do you think they're going to let him go? It's part of a doubleheader. There's only 7 innings. Took him out after 4. I was furious. But, man, there's a lot of fun prospects. Urkelani and Barco, both really cool. Exciting what they were doing. All right, well, then let's jump into the special, which is about this here rotation. We went negative on the special last week with Kutch, and then he hit 300. So
you went negative. I did not.
Yeah. But so hopefully I don't have that adverse response here, because we're going to talk positive this week. I know we lost Gonzales. I started writing this before that news broke. That's not great, but the pitching staff for the Pirates has been off to an elite start. For starters, pitching pun, they have notched 9 quality starts in their last 10 games, and Falter came an inning short of making it 10 straight. Coming into today, April 14th, the Pirates have the 6th best rotation ERA in MLB at 3.36, second best in NL behind only the Phillies. They also have the 6th best walk rate at 6.4%, second most innings pitched at 86, behind only the Royals at 89. Granted, they have gotten some luck. They have the worst hard hit rate in MLB at 45.4%. Expected metrics showing that they're overperforming a bit. Not a ton, but you get some hard contacts. Specifically Jones, he's gonna give up the home run ball, and that's not great. He's also gonna miss a lot of bats, and this team is doing it with a rookie in Jared Jones, who has proven me wrong in all the best ways, because I was worried he was going to be a relief option. Instead, he's walked, I think, 1 batter since the season started, and is like running away with potentially a Rookie of the Month campaign. And we'll see where it goes from there. We've also got Bailey Falter having back-to-back amazing starts. Who would have predicted that? I think after his first start, we were all ready to put him in the fire. And he has like a near no-hitter. Yeah, Keller had some stumbles, but he's strung together 2 strong starts. Maybe he's feeling better working with Joey Bart, and that becomes his regular catcher. And that's fine too, because whatever works at this point. Perez has been excellent. Gonzales was too. Hopefully the injury isn't anything serious. We'll obviously have to wait and see on that. But this is why you build in that depth. I mentioned it already. Paul Skeens is not the next man up. He might not even be the 2nd or 3rd at this point, but the dude is coming. When he does, he's going to be ready. If they do bullpen games while Gonzales is out, or Quinn Priester gets a call up, or Eric Lauer, or whoever, Rowe, Ortiz, the team's going to manage and then potentially continue to excel, because they've been hammering the strike zone. I mentioned before, they had multiple games where they just didn't walk anyone, at least in the rotation. They're avoiding the free passes. They're letting the defense get the job done. I know there's been some snafus with the defense, but for the most part, this has been working. The rotation isn't perfect. No rotation really is. But it's starting to look a lot better than it has in a long, long time. Ed, your thoughts on the rotation? Obviously, we've lost one of the really consistent cogs. Forearm tightness is not something that you want to hear, especially with an injury prone pitcher. But with the other four still in tow, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll start with Gonzales because I didn't see anything at the game that showed he was struggling or was sore at the time. So it could just be something that came up after the game.
So, from what I've been told, from what I've heard, he was doing a cool down throwing, and that's when he felt like kind of a twinge in his forearm.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
was
he
gonna say
mentioned
because
it to the trainers, and they wanted to get it checked out.
during the game he seemed fine. Like no one had to come out and check on him. He wasn't. There was no signs of any injury at that point. So as far as the rest of the rotation goes, Perez has gone back to what is like 2021 form,
2022, yeah.
2022. Yeah,
He,
so
he's very good then.
he's looked really good. He said hammer in the strike zone, not giving up any free passes.
Yep.
Keller, maybe just finally figuring it out. First two starts were rough, but gonna have stretches. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Falter, I would say, is the big surprise. Like you said, after that first start, it was like, I didn't give an ice. You're like, what? When is he going to be gone? I'm like, as soon as possible. And he comes out with these two, killer starts.
Again,
So, and
he's
like
not
you said,
striking out
Jones,
anyone. It's just he's getting soft contact
he's soft
and
contact, which that's
yeah,
what they brought him in for.
whatever works.
Yeah, and Jones said, young, he's going to learn. You're going to leave a fastball over the middle of the plate. You're going to give up some home runs. That's something he'll learn with experience. And someone like Perez, that was it not this past start, the start before when he gave up 2 home runs, and Perez is like, all right, man, get back out there and pitch. Just throw something else.
Yeah, 100%. Jones, 25 strikeouts, 2 walks in his 3 games that he's pitched. And he's 1-2, which is unfortunate because he's given up 8 runs in that time.
Yeah, he's had what, 3 quality starts?
Oh, I guess he has a 4 ERA. That's surprising, but yeah. Yeah, I think he's got 2. Everyone's got 2 quality starts except Falter's got 1. He just had his near no hitter. Yeah. And it's going to be the next man up. And I think that fans are going to be upset that it's not Skeens, no matter who it is, but it's still going to be a successful run. And we don't need a 5th guy in the rotation until next Tuesday, April 23rd. So looking ahead, as we're headed to Queens for a 3-game series in New York against the Mets before heading home to host the Red Sox, there are some TBAs technically in the schedule, but I'm going to make some assumptions, and I'm going to base that on that they're not going to get a replacement. There's an off day on Thursday on the 18th.
Well, they already brought what, Ryan back up?
Yeah, they brought Ryan back up when they put Gonzales on the IL.
Yeah, so that tells me that Ortiz is probably going to be at that number 5 spot.
I mean, I think they're just going to skip the spot in the rotation for now, and then address it when they have to next Tuesday. So here's what I'm looking at for the Mets series, because that one's kind of in stone. We got Martin Perez versus Adrian Hauser, former Brewer, who we're somewhat familiar with. Jared Jones versus Jose Quintana, a former Pirate, who we're clearly familiar with. And then Bailey Falter versus Luis Severino. Mets pitching kind of fell off the past couple days, but they had one of the best rotations. Like they've just been crushing it. Then they had to face the Royals, and the Royals have been on fire. But what are your thoughts in that series?
The only one I'm really concerned about is Quintana, because I'm most familiar with him and I know what he can do. Severino, I don't think he's ever solidified himself after his injuries. And hard thrower. I think Pittsburgh actually does better against hard throwing pitchers.
Yeah.
So, and who'd you say the first one was? Hauser?
Yeah, Adrian Hauser.
I'm sure Pittsburgh's faced him plenty of times. I'm sure they've got a good scouting report on him. So,
Yeah. So for ERA, 'cause I'm just looking at stats, Hauser 5.40 in his first 2 games. Quintana 3.45. He's kind of been their like number one, and then Severino 3.0 in his 3 starts. But the big issue with the Mets is they've got no bats. They're not scoring any runs.
yeah, they've got
Although they did
Alonso
put up
and
16 against the Braves the other day. I think Alonso hit several home runs in that game. In one of the
who
games this
who,
past
who are their
weekend.
big bats? Alonso, Lindor,
All right,
McNeil,
I mean, let's get
maybe.
into it. So Alonso has 6 home runs on the season. Nimmo has 2. Marte has 2. And Stewart, DJ Stewart has 2. So I don't know. They've got a couple guys who can, yeah, Lindor, he's been a bit of a slump. He's batting 129, but his BABIP is like 107. Like it's just really terrible. Um, Alvarez, he was a rookie last year. He's still very talented. I don't really know outside of that. I'm not following the Mets religiously, so
Right. I said probably McNeil is another more well-known guy.
yeah, gets on base at a good clip at least. 352. Yeah, anyway, predictions for the Mets series.
I'm gonna say they're good 2 out of 3.
That the Pirates take 2 out of 3?
Pirates take 2 out of 3.
I mean, you would really hope, because the Mets, like, we've been doing pretty well against that division. And the Mets are 7-8. They've won 7 of their last 10. So they started really poorly and have started rebounding, but I do think we're a better team. I like City Field's kind of big. Jared Jones, he's probably going to give up a long ball to Alonso or something. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the matchups. I could see us doing 2 out of 3. I like Martin Perez there. Bailey Falter is kind of a wild card, but yeah, I like 2 out of 3 sounds reasonable. Red Sox series, I am assuming that they push everybody up because I have Mitch Keller in game 1 against Brayan Bello. I may have pronounced both of those names incorrectly. Game 2 is Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox. I have him going against Martin Perez, and then Garrett Whitlock in the final game against Jared Jones. Again, with the day off, this is assuming that everything will work for that. But based on those matchups, which again is speculation because we don't know if they're going to call someone up or do a bullpen game or what. Red Sox are not great, but they're 9-7 and have a plus 12 run differential. Like they've been hitting the ball.
And I know nobody on the Red Sox other than Devers.
Yeah, they've got Devers. One of my
Oh, and
favorite
was it
guys,
Costas?
Casas.
Whatever. Casas.
Casas. Yeah, every time I would do mock fantasy draft, I made sure to get Tristan Casas, and I got him in one of my drafts. Not all of them, but and then they've got the leader in home runs in baseball, Tyler O'Neill, former Cardinal.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's got 7 home runs now.
Wild.
So yeah, they got some big bats there. So your thoughts on the Red Sox?
With everything that we just talked about, I feel like the Pirates sweep them.
Whoa! Your prediction's 3-0?
3-0. I'm not concerned about O'Neill, even though you're saying he leads the league in home runs.
So let me go ahead and talk about the pitchers that are scheduled for this. Cutter Crawford has
Love his name.
thrown.
We talk about it every year.
What'd you say?
I said, love his name. Talk about it every year.
Yeah. 15.2 innings. He has a 0.57 ERA, 0.96 whip, 18 strikeouts to 8 walks. Garrett Whitlock, 14.1 innings. He has a 1.26 ERA, 1.19 whip. And then Bello, or Bayo, again, not sure, 3.92 ERA, 1.21 whip, and 19 strikeouts to 5 walks in 20.2 innings of work. Like they're pitching. Pitching's pretty good. I'm hoping that the bats show up at home. I'm not going to be so ambitious as to say 3 of 3. But depending on if we have Keller, Perez, Jones, I think the thing is we're going to be in the mix for, and this episode's running longer than usual. We're going to be in the mix for any game we play, and that's been for the most part the case so far this season. So I'm going to say 2 of 3, but I would love for you to be right over me.
I'm okay with your prediction.
Any final thoughts? Your presence in Philly with your wife and 2 kids who, for some reason, were they injured? Did something happen and they were cut and the blood stained their clothes?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no, your Philly fan family.
I know. No, I mean, as much as I rag on Philly and everything about them, beautiful ballpark. I don't know if there's a bad seat in there. Everywhere we were at, like walking around, I was like, dude, this is a good view. If we get somewhere else, I'm like, this is a good view.
Yeah.
And all the staff was great as well. I really nothing but good things to say about my experience. So
yeah, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but you obviously know that I worked there with Citizens Bank for 2 years. Was able to go to a bunch of games. It's just fun. It's a nice park, and I'm there silently rooting against the Phillies when the Pirates are playing them. But overall, it's just a great atmosphere. So glad the Pirates were able to get the split. Hopefully, we're looking forward to a fun week of games. But that wraps it up for all of us here at the 412 Double Play podcast. You can follow me on X at 412 Double Play. Follow Ed at @_Wassel. Continue listening to the show, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, the places where you can find that stuff. Subscribe to get notified when we drop our new episodes. Check out the articles at steelcity.com. Link's going to be in the description. I know that Ethan of Locked On Pirates is working on an article about the rotation. He's had to modify it because of the Gonzales news, but hopefully that's going to be dropping soon. And we've always got some new stuff from Gary, Josh, just all the guys there putting in a lot of work. As always, thank you for checking out the show. From all of us here at the 412 Double Play podcast, thank you for joining us this week, and let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Take it away, Sawyer.
Lady Jolly Roger, dude.